Well, hello out there, my fellow backyard stargazers, and welcome to this very quick live stream of At the Eyepiece. I'm very excited to go ahead and show you a brand new piece of software from our friends over at ZWO. Of course, they make some fantastic astronomy cameras, plus a whole plethora of other items. One of them, from focusers to filter wheels, even dabbles in some other telescopes from time to time, although I'm not sure if they actually have those anymore. But man, they have exploded on the scene with cameras and such. And one of the great things is they listen to people out there that are utilizing their cameras. And this particular piece of software that has just been released a couple of days ago is called ASI Studio. And ASI Studio, as the name implies, is kind of a suite of applications. And one of them is their ASICapture for planetary capture, deep sky called ASIImg, and the one that I'm using here, which is, I'm not sure why that's getting kind of cut off there, but it's ASI Live. And right up on the screen here is ASI live right here at the eyepiece. We're utilizing a ASI 294 color camera Pro, and we are connected up. Right now we are showing, well, we are going to be showing a couple of views here. Let's go ahead and bring up Stellarium. We are looking towards M81 and M82. We are utilizing the Explorer Scientific 8-inch f 3.9 imaging Newtonian on an IEQ45 Pro mount. And we are guiding, we're getting 60-second exposures here. Now, one of the first things I'm going to mention about this software is it's version 1 right now, so expect a lot of changes and improvements to come out. But I will tell you, in my opinion, as someone that does a lot of electronically assisted observing, right now this software is very, very good. I love the clean user interface right now. There's not a whole lot of missed screen real estate. You've got the most needed controls right over here to the right, your resolution, your gain settings automatic for high, medium, or low, your binning of course setting, exposure I touched base on, your cooler control if your camera supports that right over here. Next up is you have a section here for your stacking. You can live stack. Uh, this looks kind of like a broom here. We'll go ahead and essentially refresh the image. And you can also switch between stacking and of course just straight up live images, unstacked. And you also have some of these advanced stacking options, the dark frame subtraction and flat frame subtraction. Now, one of the things I do notice right off the bat is that your dark and your flats must be in fits format to begin with. I'm used to using a program called SharpCap, which is very good as well. And you've seen that a number of times on the show. And my dark and flat is actually saved as a PNG file. It would not import that here to the ASI Live. So what you're going to be seeing here is a not as pretty, if you will, image because we can't apply dark, we can't apply flats. Now, the program, however, as you can notice here under these advanced settings, allows you to go ahead and remove hot pixels. It automatically will go ahead and do that for you. Down to the histogram settings, again, minimalistic approach. I have utilized the auto. It works very, very well. You have a broad view here of the histogram. You can also go into more of a zoomed in, if you will. We'll show you that here as we begin actually doing something with this image. Below that, again, minimalistic approach here. Image processing. Three options, well, four options. Brightness, contrast, saturation, and of course, the noise reduction. Now, one thing you notice as I move the mouse around here, you'll have this very well thought out pop-up design here for these tabs and these buttons for your zoom capabilities. You can zoom right on in. You can go ahead and full screen it, or actually it's fit to window. Set image to 100% area. Go ahead and put in a reticle here, and then you can go ahead and flip your image horizontally, flip your image vertically, and of course save your image exactly as it is to be uh, displayed. Right over here at the top is if you have an electronic filter wheel. You know, as I said, ZWO, they have a number of accessories, not just cameras. They have electronic filter wheels, and they also have electronic focuser settings that integrate in very smartly with this application. I don't have the capability to try that right now. You do have two different themes. You have this dark theme, which I am running right now, and you have the light frame theme rather, that you can also opt to run. I kind of like the dark myself. And then of course here in the wheel where the gear is your settings, very minimalistic actually right now. Your capture object, you do have to go ahead and put in the names of your objects at this point. I hope that eventually they'll have something a little bit different where you can name it on the fly. I'm also hoping that they will add the capability to go ahead and put this capture object um, on the actual saved image as an option. But anyway, you also have your save path as well, and here's some options for your choosing your electronic filter wheel and your electronic focuser. A couple of other settings related to that, and that's it. I mean, that is a very clean, simple looking layout for the application. I really like that. Now, let's see how it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable our stack, and we're going to wait here. We're doing 60-second exposures. Probably should have dropped that down to 30, but let's do 60 right now. Again, I'm not able to apply any uh, flats to this. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to get such a beautiful image right off the bat, but that's not a problem with the software. It's just a problem with my files that the software can't read right now. So we'll wait for this to go ahead. You can see on the lower right, your camera status gives you your exposure countdown. Over here on the left-hand side will show you your stack if it has ignored any frames because of, guiding issues, etc. So very well thought out and laid out program there. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to clear this image, and then I'm going to go ahead and enable the stacking again. I think it might have had that in there from the previous attempt right before we started to broadcast. So let's go ahead in there and change that. This attempt right before. I'm going to wait for that image to come up and then do some quick edits of what we're doing here on the actual live video. There's our first image. We are going to go ahead and let that refresh for another 30 seconds. All right, so there is our two stacks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this kind of build up to, let's say, 4 stacks. And then I'm going to show you what some of these automatic settings will do and just how quickly you can get to a very acceptable image here live up on your screen if you're utilizing a ZWO ASI camera for this type of electronically assisted observing. Okay, so here we have 3. We're coming up. Look at the exposures countdown right there on the lower right. There's really no, I'm used to sharp cap, so I'm going to go ahead and count off to 4 exposures before I do some automatic settings. It's just what I'm used to. We'll make some other adjustments here. We'll see if it makes a significant difference with ASI Live, and we'll go from there. We have just about 15 seconds left, and we'll see what we can do. Now, right here, I will tell you, we got a good view of M81. I'm hoping that this is M82 over here on the right. I'm not sure, however, if I've got it framed accurately, honestly, or not, but we'll see what we got. All right, stack of 4. Either way, it'll show you a good use of the software. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit auto. All right, look at how much detail with a simple click of auto histogram that we've got in M81 already. Now, flats and darks are no doubt going to help out the program. You'll see these donuts here. That's because I got dust on the lens. So let's adjust some of the other settings. Let's go ahead and adjust our saturation way up there. Get some really good color in our image, and let's start adjusting and playing around with contrast. And maybe brightness a bit. Let's see. So let's drop down let's up that actually a little bit more. Increase maybe our contrast a tad more. Whoop, probably a bit too much. There we go. There we go. There we go. I like that actually better. But you saw as soon as I clicked pretty much automatic. Let's drop that back down to default. I mean, with one click, I had an actually pretty decent view here. I have a feeling that that just does not look like that is M81 or M82 rather. Let's go ahead and reset. So that's our default. Click auto and boom, you've already have the galaxy and some good detail in the spiral arms. Now imagine, just imagine when I get darks able to be applied with this software. Now there is one catch here regarding flats and darks. I have not obviously been able to test that out yet. Because my flats and darks are in image format versus a FITS format, and apparently you have to have it in a FITS format here for this. However, that being said, being that this is the very first release of this product, or this software, it's very much so in a, I don't know, live beta, if you will. But there's no doubt going to be changes, fixes, etc. that's going to come out very shortly here from ZWO. One of the things from another user on Night Skies Network, Don in Pennsylvania, he noted that, well, he couldn't get the flats as well as I think the darks to actually be applied. So there is one catch with that, but man, even considering that, I'm pretty impressed thus far with just a very simple program for performing electronically assisted astronomy, such as we're doing here with the ASI Live and the 294 camera. Now this is kind of bugging me here, so let's go ahead and get our scope more lined up. So I'm going to clear the stack. I'm going to switch to a live view, not stacking right now. Actually, I'm going to turn stacking off now. Once we do that, notice how the icon changed. We're going to go to let's just go to a 2-second exposure. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my scope is nice and aligned, all that good stuff here with M81. Let's see how far we are off. Okay, so we're off a little bit. Let me go ahead and get ourselves synced to a better target because that was not M82 in that same field of view. Oop, went too far. I don't think I'll be able to get both of them probably. All right, so let me sync on M81. Bear with me. This has nothing to do with the software, but you can see just how easy it is. I mean, really, it's a great, well thought out product in my opinion so far. Can't wait to see what they come up with for changes. Let's go ahead and see if we can get. Can't imagine that was an M82 what we had. No, yeah, there's M82. All right, so let's actually get M82 in our field of view. Did I go too far? I think I went too far. There it is. Yeah, that other object just was not M82. We had M81. We definitely didn't have M82 here. Okay, so now that we have this one, let's start. We'll just wrap up with doing another quick little demonstration of just how easy it is to go from centering your object, which, by the way, you can go ahead and use the reticle here if you want. You know, that'll help you sync your telescope if you want. Click it off. Once you are ready to go, let's set your exposure. Let's do 30 seconds. Let's go to a stacked view. We're going to reset our histogram. We're also going to make sure that we clear our stacked image, just in case it has any residual from the 2-second exposure there that we doing while we were centering the object. And let's wait for ASI Live to go ahead and put in our first 30-second exposure. In this instance, it's M82 coming up. Notice how it gives you the status. Look at that. Look at how smooth and how good the background is, even without even starting to stack this. Pretty impressive. All right, let's go ahead and let this build for, let's do 2 more. So we're going to do 2 more for a total of 3 stacks of M82 here before I go ahead and even start doing the adjustments. All right, so there's 2. even right now. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Look at that. All right. And right here at the bottom left, we'll see if we have our third stack. It also will tell us if it ignored it, if it couldn't align it successfully. All right, so there's stack 3. Let's auto histogram this. Woo, really blew that out quite a bit, actually. Let's up our saturation. Let's increase our contrast here a bit. Let's try to adjust our brightness down here a tad. Now we'll slide this over. There we go. Look at that. We'll let that build up a bit. I like my background just a little bit lighter than I think probably a lot of people. Now we're getting a little bit of good detail in the core. One thing I would love to see a capability added to the software would be high dynamic range type of imaging. But look at how smooth the background is, and there's our M82. Now I made a lot of adjustments there, really, but look at just, I mean, with not even adjusting the histogram any, without even hitting auto, just hitting reset and then making adjustment to the contrast. Look at what a great image we got right off the bat. Now again, this is not astrophotography. This is electronically assisted observing. This is why they call it ASI Live. So anyway, let's go back to our defaults one more time so I can show you that process. So what I usually like to see is up my saturation. I think we had our contrast, our brightness up a bit, and let's up our contrast. And within just a moment, we have a very, very acceptable image on the screen to show the world, to show our outreach, show our family, friends, whomever, M82. Now we could save that just by clicking on the save icon, and it saves it with the name that we put in under the settings up here. So I'd like to see that maybe changed later on. Now auto stretch definitely blows that up quite a bit. So I prefer with this particular object, okay, leaving it the histogram as is, and just adjusting our brightness and contrast. And then our saturation if we wanted. Really make those colors pop. One of the things I noticed too, it does a really, really good job compared to what I think I've seen in say, for example, comparatively speaking to SharpCap, its ability to just get a really good smooth background. The noise reduction works really, really well. I'm going to go ahead and save this image as well, and that's it. So I just wanted to pop on, do a quick live demonstration here of a brand new piece of software from ASI. This is part of their ASI Studio, which will include ASICap for planetary, lunar, solar, ASIImg for deep sky image acquisition, and ASILive, which is what we're doing right here at the Eyepiece. So thanks for taking the time and watching this. No doubt I will be getting back to doing some live broadcasts here of some other objects once I get a little bit more comfortable here with the software and the nuances of it. But hopefully, this very brief demonstration gives you a hint of the possibilities of what could be available for you at the Eyepiece with ASI Live. So hope you enjoy it. I'll go ahead and I'll make sure I have a link to the software download for you to follow within the video description sometime real soon. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you next time right here at the Eyepiece.